I've come to the site of the famous White Horse in the heart of rural Oxfordshire. The White Horse is also home to the village of Uffington. Uffington may appear sleepy now, but it once played its own small part in the Industrial Revolution. Built in the mid-19th century, this engine house is the only building left of what was once part of a vibrant brickmaking manufacturer. Tim and Emma Verdon, together with their 3 children, Lucy, Edward and Georgina, have a vision to restore this derelict monument of our industrial past into a dream home. At the moment, they live in rented accommodation, which comes with Tim's job as a bursar at an independent school. And being passionate about their 4 horses, the engine house's 6 acres was an added attraction.
Yeah, I stumbled across it in the local paper, in the back of the local paper. As soon as we climbed over the gate, we just thought this was the place for us.
It's not a 10-year fix, it's not a 20-year fix. It's a, it's a long term, it's
Forever.
a 50 or 100-year fix.
We've bought all this with every single penny we have.
We think this is our dream home, don't we?
It's perfect. It's just what we wanted.
Using the money from the sale of their previous house, Tim and Emma bought this building and the land for £365,000. They hope to get a mortgage of a further £220,000 to complete the work. I know that every building has a story to tell, and if Tim and Emma can understand that history, it may shape their restoration journey.
Hi, George.
Look at all your crew.
Hi,
Hi,
nice
how are
to
you?
meet
Nice to meet you,
Very well,
Tim.
thanks.
How are you?
George,
You
good to
well?
see you, yes.
Good, I like this bit of slave labour on a building site. It's always nice and cheap on a build.
Yes,
Certainly
they're
is.
very enthusiastic for about 5 minutes.
If you can get them to do anything at all.
And it looks like you've bought a bit of brickwork and that's about it.
Very sound Victorian brickwork. We had a structural engineer look at it and the foundations are really good. Clearly the downside, it doesn't have a roof.
Yeah, which is quite a big issue.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, it is. But
Stating
at
the
least
obvious.
it's got walls.
So, the big question, how long?
Well, hopefully we'll be in by the Easter holidays, but it might not be till the summer.
Right.
But if we get a few rooms done in the house, we could certainly move in.
What's your budget?
We have got available about 220,000, but that's for the house and for the carport and for the fencing and the garden and,
Services and the
everything.
footpaths.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Every whole bang
Everything,
sheet.
yeah.
Should we go and have a look at the building?
Yes,
I'm
let's.
dying to see it.
Since the brickworks closed in 1923, the engine house has been used as an agricultural barn and comes with a footprint of 2,100 square feet. When Tim and Emma bought it, it had 2 rooms with planning permission to build a single-storey extension.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Do you like the
brilliant.
designer thistles?
Internal garden.
Yeah, I think you should keep this. I think it's fine.
The house with no roof. Plenty of light.
But it's lovely and warm and sunny inside.
It won't be for long when the miserable winter kicks in.
And this strange floor, which did it extend any further? Well, that's as far as it went, and it's got it's got a couple of timbers that one on top of each other. So whatever was up there was pretty strong.
I want to get up there actually.
You can climb up on the
We've
bricks
got
the
a
other
little,
side.
um,
But
yeah.
the wall in front of you might fall down, but we put and then a foot up there, and then you might have to.
Well, it's brilliant. Oh, that wobbles. The brickwork then wobbles.
Which I'm holding together.
That entire wall wobbles. And then even the timber bracing, which is helping support the gable at the end, that wobbles as well.
Which is why we need to get the roof on pretty quick.
You need to get the roof on bloody quick.
Although now just a shell, for me, Tim and Emma's engine house holds many mysteries.
What is of really great interest is the fact there's a little eyebrow above the top pier,
Yeah.
which has been broken, but we found these in the rubble that we were clearing out.
Fantastic.
So there's 3 bits of eyebrow that we could
So you can get them back in.
stick
I
back
think we might be
somehow.
able to get them back in.
And it's the way they've done that, the rounded corners of the brick. This is a more modern, sand and cement there, but lime mortar corners like that with
And
the
then
little.
the corner up here,
Yeah.
they've sort of taken that edge off.
Yeah, no, it's what I'm amazed about on buildings like this, something that's got a kind of an engineering or industrial or agricultural past. The level of thought that goes into crafting all of those
Yeah.
tiny little things,
Yeah.
tiny little
Yeah.
details that make a very simple building sing.
As an architect, what I love about restoration is piecing together a building's history.
This plot that Emma and Tim have bought probably had many other buildings on it. I'm keen to unravel the history of this brickyard to find out how it actually operated and who it supplied bricks to. Like many stately homes that had their own clay pits, the Uffington brickworks was built by the Earls of Craven in the 1840s to produce bricks to build their own buildings on their estates.
But by the late 19th century, this yard, like many owned by stately homes, had turned into a thriving business to meet the demand to build more and more houses. On my journey into the archives, I want to find out about how that demand grew and what it was like to work here. Although the engine house is of historic interest, it's not a listed building. Therefore, Tim and Emma have some flexibility with the planners. I'm intrigued to know about their plans. Tim and Emma already have some ideas of how they want their house to be. Downstairs, they want to build a double extension to incorporate a living room. They also want to have a large kitchen, family room, and a vaulted dining room. But I think they're not making the best use of the space available.
I was just wondering whether there was any opportunity for the dining hall space to move over to here and the loo to move over to the utility room, so all your drainage was in one position. So the diagram, if you don't mind me drawing on it, the diagram quite simply is family room here is one space, then you've got utility room, toilet and drainage. This is kind of wet area stuff, drainage stuff.
Yeah.
That's your family room. And then in the diagram just becomes this is kind of kitchen, whether it's kitchen, dining, breakfast or kitchen, breakfast.
So, taking Tim and Emma's plans for downstairs, this is what I'd do instead. I'd put the utility room and cloakroom alongside each other, opening up the kitchen to make it into a combined dining room as well. This means that important room will get light from three sides of the house.
The whole central zone of that diagram becomes the kind of, it serves the house.
Yeah.
It's corridors, hallways, staircase, utility room, toilets.
All the things that don't matter so
All the
much.
stuff that doesn't matter goes into the centre of the plan. And then around the edges of the plan, you really enjoy the spaces that get the best views and the best natural light.
I like that idea because until you mentioned it, actually, of course that's the way we want to look. We want to look over the land that we own.
Upstairs, they're trying to squeeze in 5 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. But I've really altered things. By changing the position of the stairs and putting in a central corridor, it means that the master bedroom and guest room each gain an ensuite. Also, the other 3 bedrooms for their children are now all together.
What do you think?
Fantastic. I think there's some really great ideas there, aren't there? And I
Really
think,
good ideas, yeah, because we've got quite stale thinking about it so much, and it's great to see another angle, I think, on it. Well done.
I've done it once or twice before.
Yeah, it's great.
Before they even start, Tim and Emma have a major problem. To meet the bank's demands before they grant a mortgage of £220,000, they've got to hit a 6-week deadline to get the roof on and make the building watertight. But they only have £25,000 of savings to do the work, and no roof means no mortgage.
If it's wind and watertight, then we can meet the criteria for the mortgage, and then we can go and start on everything else we need to.
But that's
So-
more than 25 grand.
Yes.
Yes.
I can tell you now.
Yes.
So what are you going to do?
We're put a second-class stamp on the cheque.
You've got to get that roof on under very tight financial constraints to then release that money from the bank to carry on.
Yes, we have.
And if the bad weather kicks in before that, it's even worse.
Yeah.
To cut costs, Tim and Emma hope to do a lot of the preparation work themselves. They've even bought a digger for 12 grand rather than hiring one.
Some people are 2-car families. We're a 1-car family with a digger.
Tim and Emma have also made another daring economic decision. While Tim will continue to work as a bursar, Emma has left her job as a school teacher and taken the risky step to project manage the entire build.
Well, I think it'd be quite fun. I'm sure it'll surprise me how difficult it'll be, but, I've got Tim there. He's a good support.
Yeah. You will get there, but the journey there can be
Pretty horrific.
painful.
Yeah. Be interesting what I say in 9 months' time, won't it? Tearing my hair out, saying, I'm not ever doing this again!
I'm absolutely fascinated by the history of this building and what it was actually used for. And I'm amazed by how brave this family are, to be honest, in taking something like this on. But the next few months are going to be unbelievably difficult for them, with a massive amount of pressure to get it wind and watertight and raise the finance that they really need. It's a big worry.
In June 2010, Tim and Emma Verdon bought this 19th century building, along with 6 acres of prime Oxfordshire countryside, for £365,000. It's an engine house, and the only remaining structure of what was once a vibrant brickmaking works. They plan to turn this building into a family home, but with their savings of £25,000 nearly gone, they have a problem. They need to raise a mortgage of £220,000 to complete the rebuild. But the bank won't release the money until they put a roof on, and they only have 6 weeks to meet the deadline. If they miss that, they'll have to start the whole difficult process of getting a mortgage again. They couldn't have started at a worse time. With winter coming on fast, Tim and Emma are racing against the clock. They both know that no roof means no mortgage.
Morning, Tim.
Morning.
Emma, how are you?
Very well,
Good to
thanks.
see you.
Good to see you
The
too.
sun's shining.
I know, it's lovely. It's a
For
lovely
once.
day. Yeah.
It's good. Hello, mate. How's things?
Hi, good, thanks.
You all right?
Yeah, it was better with the sun.
You've got the roof on.
I know.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Well, got the felt on.
That's all you needed,
Start.
though, wasn't it? To
Yes.
keep the bank
Yes, it
happy.
was.
Yep,
The-
yep.
The bank are very happy.
Just how close were you in terms of time into missing your mortgage?
The mortgage offer was going to run out the following Wednesday, and we got the mortgage on the Tuesday.
Wow.
So it was.
You
it
were
was a
cutting
bit-
it very fine.
Yeah. It was a bit
Unbelievably fine.
close to the bone.
Having got the mortgage by the skin of their teeth, there's another big problem. It's with the slate tiles for their roof.
So what's the plan with the slates? When are they actually going on top?
Well, we took a slate, an example slate to the planners last week.
So when do you hear back?
8 weeks.
You're kidding
It's going
me.
to take 8 weeks for them to make a decision.
That puts you into January.
Puts us
Yes.
far too late down the line, and we're thinking of being a bit revolutionary, aren't we?
We're going to take a gamble and start putting slates on the roof.
Big risk.
It is a big risk.
The problem is, if you go ahead and do it and they don't like it, they'll make you take it off.
And for some reason, Tim and Emma still haven't submitted the plans I changed for them back in September.
This is a massive, massive problem because you're on site,
Yeah.
you've got guys on here,
Yeah.
but you've got a pre-planning inquiry in for the amendments on the design. You've got
Yep.
no feedback on it and you've got no date of when that's going to come back. Even when that does come back, you've got to put in the formal application for the amendments.
Yeah.
And that'll take a minimum 8 weeks anyway. And you haven't got a decision on the slate for the roof from them either.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a very satisfactory situation at all.
The pace of this build is going really well, but my biggest worry at this stage is they haven't got all their planning permissions sorted out. And there's a chance that unless they do that very quickly, this build could grind to a halt. With Tim and Emma facing the huge problems of getting planning for their brick house, as the grandson of a builder, I'm really keen to know as much as possible about the history of bricks themselves. The Romans brought bricks to the UK about 2,000 years ago. But the problem is, when the Romans left, they took their brick making skills with them. So for the next 700 years, us Brits were used to living in houses made of timber, or if you were lucky to live in some sort of castle, it might be made out of hand-carved stone. But my studies have discovered that all that changed in the early 16th century when one particular king decided to build himself a palace.
Hampton Court was turned into a palace by Henry VIII in 1528, and it's one of the finest examples of early brickwork in Britain. I've come to meet the curator of historic buildings, Kent Rawlinson, to find out more about the evolution of building in brick.
It's like a pattern book in some ways, isn't it, for bricks? Because you see all the fantastic textures, the different periods, the different ages.
It's all about showing off your status. So you're partly showing off your status by the size, partly by the material, brick itself, and then partly by just the detail. And the chimneys here all show, for example, that you've got fireplaces that you can heat with coal. So it's all about money and showing off.
150 years after Henry VIII, William III asked Christopher Wren to demolish Hampton Court and rebuild it. Luckily, there was no money, so instead Wren decided to celebrate bricks and build the royal apartments on the east side of the palace.
He uses 3 different types of brickwork to demonstrate the 3 different statuses of the floors in this building. So on the ground floor, you've got this very sort of purpley dark brickwork, which when you get up close is quite sort of rough. Yeah. And then on the first floor, where the royal apartments are, you've got this very, very fine, high quality, sharp, bright red brickwork. And then above that, something that's a bit in between the two. And that sort of reflects the fact that you've got the royalty on the first floor, you've got some kitchens and offices, but some sort of smaller royal apartments on the ground floor, and then courtiers right at the top. So it makes the building read much more dramatically.
So the use of the brickwork itself as a reflection of status?
Yeah, so in the 16th century, you've just got one brick for everywhere, and here you've got different bricks telling you different stories.
To appreciate the sheer scale and beauty of Hampton Court, Ken takes me to a particular place that very few people get to experience.
So this is a view that not many people must get?
No, it's just magnificent, I think. You get to see how Hampton Court sits within its estate, with the huge parks out to one side and the Thames sort of looping round the whole thing of palace and park. You start to see the fact that we've got millions of bricks at Hampton Court. So something like 26 million bricks are used by, well, sort of documented by Henry VIII's builders. And each one of those is being made by hand.
The landscape, this strip, is just all brickwork, isn't it? Building, brickwork, all the way around.
Yeah. What I would always find magical is the way that with about 16 million of those bricks being made on site, and partly from clay that is being dug out of the park here, you have Hampton Court sort of rising out of the ground on which it stands.
Architecture, landscape, absolutely connected with each other.
This is what Tim and Emma's engine house and Hampton Court have in common. They both evolved from their local clay. Back on site, the day that Tim and Emma have been waiting for has arrived. They're meeting local planning officer Mike Gilbert. If they can convince him to accept their plans, they can get the go-ahead to tile the roof and start work on the main building.
I think so. It's a momentous day. We think there's going to be some decisions made which hopefully are in our favour.
What are you doing?
Thanks for coming out to see us.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Very kind of you. Oh, it's a bit less frosty than it has been.
Morning.
So, is the restoration sympathetic to the building's history? Is the proposed extension agreeable? And are the roof tiles acceptable?
I think from the local authorities' point of view, the most important issue is to ensure that the building's original character is retained. Mm-hmm. Although you're suggesting moving the extension from one side to the other in principle, I think that's fine. To my mind, a concern is the size. The changes you're proposing here as a whole, because you are moving the extension and making other alterations, it will need a fresh planning permission.
As I told them, they're going to have to fully resubmit their plans. But what about the roof tiles?
It's a good quality, natural slate, absolutely fine.
And so you're happy?
Happy with that, absolutely.
That's great.
If they are changing the approved plans, it depends on the extent of the changes, but very often it will need a fresh planning permission. The principal concern being retaining the character of the original building.
There is a big paradox in the planners' views about existing buildings. They want you to retain as many, if not all, the originality of that building. But that is balanced between the fact that actually, you know, if it wasn't for people like ourselves, this building would be no more. You know, it was pretty close to falling down. We didn't know how close it was to falling down until we actually started rebuilding.
And we've saved the building, haven't we?
Yeah.
To add to their troubles, 3 weeks later, thieves break in, and this has highlighted a major problem. The building is in an isolated rural position. As they live more than an hour's drive away, this means the engine house is left alone for long periods of time.
Someone's got into the house and has cut all the electrical wires. We feel really cross about it, don't we? It's really annoying, you know, because you put a lot of effort into all this work, and then it's kind of undone in one evening.
Unbelievably, 4 weeks later it happens again. With their property unsecure, the build running behind schedule, planning permission still not granted, and the finances beginning to run out, Tim and Emma have reached a crisis point.
We are getting quite close up to where the builders want to be, and therefore we're actually saying to them, stop for a bit, reducing their workforce by 50%.
With almost everything going against them, our two restoration warriors have got a vital decision to make. Should they move in and finish the work themselves? Tim and Emma Verdon bought this derelict 19th century building with 6 acres of land in Oxfordshire for £365,000. The building was once the engine house of a brickmaking works and has been derelict for nearly 100 years. As it's not a listed building, it doesn't have strict planning regulations. But ever since they started work on it, they've been tangled up in the frustrating process of getting their designs accepted by the local planning department.
So the last time that I came to see Tim and Emma, it was unbelievably frustrating. They hadn't got their planning application submitted. They hadn't really ticked all the boxes that you need to do to be able to move forward on a build, but they were still pushing as quickly as possible on site. And the danger there is that you catch yourself out. You stumble over yourself because the build is moving faster than the bureaucratic process. And if you do that, you're asking for trouble. So hopefully today they've got things back on track.
Morning.
The tiles are on.
Yeah.
Don't have to admit. You must have planning.
They
Have you got planning?
Yes, we have, yeah.
Thank God for that.
I know.
That's brilliant.
It took a bit of time, but we got there in the end.
Planning just for the tiles or for everything?
No.
Just for the tiles.
Just the tiles?
Yeah.
Well, that's a start. And you've got the Derelict skylights in, and you've got solar panels on the roof as well. Have you got planning for those?
It's a bit of a grey area, really. It's sort of
Planning's
not
never
a no.
grey. Planning's never grey. It's either yes or no. That's the planning system. That sounds like you haven't for all of it.
Not quite.
We've asked, and they
We've
know
asked.
about it, but we haven't been given it yet.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I think it's all brilliant. It's moral, it's good, it's eco, it's sustainable. I think it looks fine. But when you haven't got planning, it's a big risk, because they can make you take them down.
The solar panels are only part of the problem. 2 months ago, when Tim and Emma met with planning officer Mike Gilbert, he stressed that for him to accept the changes they'd made, they had to resubmit a full new application.
Because you are moving the extension and making other alterations, it will need a fresh planning permission. So you will need to submit a fresh application.
Eventually, they did send in a new set of plans, but there's another issue.
We followed the advice of the planning officer that came to see us on site, did exactly what he said on the drawing and put that in, but they won't accept the application.
Why?
We had a letter last week, didn't we? So it's taken them a month to reply and tell us that they're not happy with our application, that we've ticked the wrong box on something.
Despite not having planning, Tim and Emma have made another drastic decision.
We probably intend to move in within 2 or 3 weeks, don't we? Or so.
2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks?
We've done a lot of
How are you going to move in 2 to 3? I haven't seen the inside, but bloody hell, it would be one of the fastest builds I've ever seen if it's ready to move in 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, it'll be slightly camping, but, you know, we'll be all right. I've started painting.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, I want to have a look. I've got to see what this is like inside. 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. But you're going to be absolutely roughing it. I mean, when you say move in, are you talking about getting rid of the rental place you're in now?
Yeah.
Move all your gear,
Yeah.
move all your stuff in.
Yeah.
You are going to move into this house. And if you got hot water, is that all
Not
up
hot
and
water,
running?
no
yet.
hot water yet. But I might be heating hot water on the stove.
There's going to be a
finish here.
finish about there.
This all needs going.
Yep.
This is bathroom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Honestly, where do you see even this first floor being in 3 weeks, if that's when you're going to move in? What state is it going to be in, seriously?
Well, I think we'll do as best we can, but we are going to be slightly camping.
This genuinely is bonkers. I commend them for wanting to move in and to push the build forward and get it done as quickly as possible, but if you move in too quickly, it's unbelievably disruptive. The builders can't crack on properly, they're always worried about the client being on site, and it's really uncomfortable for them and their kids at the same time. And like the planning, it's one of those things that could just quite easily trip them up, cost them more time and more money.
But restoration is not just about bricks and mortar, it's also about understanding how history shapes a building.
Uffington Brickworks, which was built in the 1840s to serve only the Craven estate, soon began supplying bricks to other builders because of the huge expansion of building that happened throughout Oxfordshire in the 19th century. As this clamour for bricks grew, small brickyards like Uffington became small businesses with tenant brickmakers, employing workers to churn out thousands of handmade bricks a week. To help me find out what life was like in a brickyard like Tim and Emma's, I've come to a traditional brickmakers in Suffolk. My research tells me that brickmaking was a closed community, and like today's corner shop, to make the businesses work, families often employed their children to do the menial jobs. To help me understand what it was really like for those children, I've come to meet Oxford University historian Professor Jane Humphreys. What would life have been like for children working in something like this in the 1800s?
In the 1851 census, brickmaking was a top 20 job for boys, and something like maybe between 20 and 30,000 children were employed on the brickyards.
And what would life have actually been like on a day-to-day for them?
Well, it's a very hard job. Yeah, I mean, just look at this material. I mean, just look at it. Ugh. Can you imagine putting 25 pounds worth of this on your head and then carrying a big lump equally heavy in your arms?
So, Jim, what roles would these kids have had at what age in the brickworks?
Well, if you look here, you can see the labour process and you can see what roles children would have had, because this chap is doing the role of the grown-up here. And then these wet bricks, ooh, yes, you've got to...
They're heavy.
Younger children would be carrying those.
Wet clay formed into that shape,
yeah.
Very dense. What sort of
maybe
age would the kids
9 pounds, maybe weight.
And the kids would be how old?
Maybe 8, 9. We've got children as young as 5 recorded working.
What sort of hours would those kids have been doing each day?
Oh, dawn to dusk, 6 to 6, because they're working with the grown-ups, so they would have to have worked the same hours as the grown-ups.
So is there any evidence of kids working at Uffington?
Well, we've actually looked at the mid-Victorian censuses for Uffington, and there is evidence of child workers in your brickyard there.
God, I find that quite tragic, actually, thinking that actually they would have been working so hard here and having to stack so many bricks out there.
Well, George, it's recorded in black and white.
So this is on the kilns, which is incredible, actually.
Another job for children would have been staying up all night to make sure the fires stayed on.
So the kids would have to do like all-nighters, basically, lifting the coal into place.
Well,
and
I
keeping
think
the fires
all-nighters just to make sure things stayed okay.
Even though this place really gives you an idea of what the processes were like, it doesn't really give you an idea of the conditions, does it?
No, I think it's a much sanitised and cleaned up version of your small-scale Uffington.
And who would have employed these kids?
Very often the children were employed by their own parents or by other grown-ups to help them, so that you couldn't then prosecute the master brickmaker, because he would simply say, oh, well, it's the parents who bring them to work, I just employ the parents.
That's quite crafty, isn't it?
And you can see it reflected in the third world today, where, you know, in China and in India, children are a very significant presence on building sites, for example.
And none of that's regulated either, is it?
No, and brickmaking is a big job for children in the third world.
So 140 years later, what was happening in Britain could now be happening all through India and China.
Yeah, indeed.
So it would seem that the brutal process of industrialisation in the developing world continues to exploit children. Having decided to move into the engine house, Tim has made another cost-cutting decision.
Well, I think the most important thing to let you know is I've given up work.
No way.
Yeah.
Why?
To work on here.
I hate to be Mr. Practical, but what about loss of income?
Actually, going through the figures, it's cheaper for me to be one of the labourers and to take out the costs of the builder's profit.
So you're offsetting your income and your job, which you've lost, against the money that you could potentially save on the build by doing more yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
We've moved the children, so they've started a new school beginning of January, and they're very, very happy.
You've taken a leap, really, haven't you?
Which is why we need to move here now. So, you know, and then all the jigsaw puzzle will all fit together, won't it? And we just keep working on the house during the week.
Work has now cranked up a notch. The builders are racing against the clock to get the basics ready for the family to move in. But to give Tim and Emma a break from the build, I've taken the family to a traditional brickmaking workshop at the Blists Hill Museum in the Iron Bridge Gorge. I want them to meet master brickmaker Tony Mugridge to see if he can help in their search for the missing eyebrow bricks which are needed above their windows.
Okay guys, come on in. Meet Tony. Tony, this is the Verdon family. An invasion of them today.
Hello.
We've actually got this little piece of brick here. This little brick eyebrow, which we've really struggled to find from any reclamation yard. And we were hoping would help us make them.
Yeah,
Is that possible?
Yeah, there's no trouble at all. You can even match the colour. No trouble at all.
We just love to be able to have them reproduced.
It's what they call a bullnose brick, and what they've done is hand carved it to this shape. You can see here it's very dark, and this is where it's caught the weather. So when I make these bricks, they will be that colour. But all you do is just wash them down. Do you know this? You wash them down with sour milk, and they will age. They will age in about 3 weeks. Most buildings to do with brickworks are an advert of the works. They'd have all their latest product. Everything, if they made different colour bricks would be in it, and so it looked really gorgeous when it was first built.
Fantastic.
I like to see old bricks like this because the brick will tell you everything about how it was made.
I think what's so fascinating is that you can just have this one brick, this one material, and the more you look at it and the more you analyse, the more it tells the story of the history of this building.
That's just it. If you were actually employed by me, which was illegal, okay, but if you were, I'd only show you once, and after that, you'd have to make them right, and if you didn't make them right, I'd dock it off your money. So you get less money. Not that I'd be paying you, I'd be paying your parents.
Look at that.
Yeah,
You've made a brick for your house. How cool is that?
Very exciting, and it's a really good feel, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a really good
fantastic.
feel.
It's lovely to think that we're putting a bit of our efforts into it and to keep it going for many hundreds of years, hopefully, to come.
True to their word, 8 months after they began their restoration project, Tim and Emma have moved into the engine house and started working on it themselves. So I'm curious to see how they're coping with living as a family on a building site.
Look at the furniture arrangement. You can't live like that.
It's actually really nice having our own stuff here.
And you've started laying a few of the bricks in here.
Yeah, and then we stopped.
And then stopped. Why?
Well, because if we'd laid the floor, then we wouldn't have been able to walk on it for 2 days.
You do realise it's a builder's nightmare. When the client moves in on site, it is a builder's nightmare. And what's wrong here then? Well, hello, Emma. What's this? A little makeshift.
Our makeshift kitchen.
First floor kitchen.
Well, it's because all the sockets work up here, so we really, it's a lot easier if we've got the fridge and kettle and toaster and microwave, and we've got no hot water.
Right. Okay.
I mean, we've been living here for a month now, haven't we, without any hot water? So that's quite testing at times, but it's not too bad. We've only had 4 nights without a bath since we've been here, so we've done quite well. We've just boiled water up on the stove downstairs and brought it up in saucepans.
Upstairs, like cauldrons of...
And then we all literally, one jumps in the bath
stairs?
and the next one jumps in the bath, and so we share water. So by the time I get in, after everybody else has been in, it's a bit brown, a bit murky, the water.
I'd say black,
But it's
You've got all across the windowsill. You've got your pirate ships.
Were you happy when
Yes.
things came out of storage?
So happy I cried.
Oh, did you? Did you really? What an incredible family. Unbelievable. They just crack on. No matter what's thrown at them, they just get on with it. And when they moved into that building, I thought they were mad. And in some respects, they are a bit mad, but it was the right move. They're in there, the kids have got a greater sense of space, the kids have got their toys and their personal belongings back.
But if they don't get that planning permission through, it could all start to unravel very quickly. After 8 months of building, Tim and Emma Verdon, along with their 3 children, 4 horses and a dog, have moved into their 19th century brickworks engine house. But it's not that easy. The builders are still on site and they're having to live out of a couple of bedrooms.
We've been living here for a month now, haven't we, without any hot water.
And Tim has given up his job to help.
It's cheaper for me to be one of the labourers and to take out the costs of the builder's profit.
But they still don't have planning permission, and if that doesn't happen, the solar panels will have to be taken off the roof and most of their work will have gone to waste.
It's amazing the hoops that you have to jump through to please the planners and try and get it right, really.
Today's a red letter day for the family. It's eldest daughter Lucy's 10th birthday and the first family celebration they'll have in their new house. But when Emma goes to collect the eagerly awaited post, she finds something extra among the cards.
Wow, that was good.
Shall we open it? Gosh, we've been waiting a long time for this. I hope it's good news.
Thick.
Okay, please find and close planning permission relating to the above development.
To include...
Hang on, the extension of the former engine house to former dwelling, to include the relocation of approved extension to north end of south elevation, erection of porch and solar panels. That's really good, isn't it?
The ramifications of what would have happened if they had not got the planning permission dawns on them.
We would have had to have altered upstairs, so because the stairs would have been in the wrong place.
And rooms were in the wrong place.
All the rooms would have been in the wrong place. Can you imagine having to sort of tear all that down and then restart again?
Fired with a renewed energy, Tim and Emma, with the help of Edward, are now going at full speed to get their home finished. What excites me about restoration, even for a small shell of a building like this, is unravelling its history. And I think now, after visiting the Brickyard in Suffolk and the Ironworks Museum, I think I can at least show what Tim and Emma's Brickyard would have looked like in the 19th century. So the clay pit is over here. Kids would have been lifting that clay out of the ground, carrying it by hand, over to a kind of conveyor belt, if you like. And that kind of rickety deck that I stood on that wobbled on my first ever visit is the area where the clay would have been fed into a kind of mixing device that would have been powered by a very powerful traction engine. From there, once that clay was in the right consistency, it would have gone over to the brickmaking desks and put into moulds, each individual brick made by hand. Then taken outside, dried for a period of time, then into the kilns to be baked. Once they were absolutely finished and ready, they'd be then delivered to site by two means. One, the railway, two, the canal. Sadly, after World War I, small brickworks like Uffington, unable to compete with mass-produced bricks, ended. But thankfully, so did child labour, as social reform and legislation brought in 1933 made it illegal to employ children under the age of 13. However, its legacy lives on. If you look anywhere within a 20-mile radius, there are dozens of red brick buildings and houses, many made from Uffington clay. Just over a year ago, Tim and Emma Verdon began work to turn their derelict engine house into a dream home. Today, I've come to see what they've achieved.
I'm always intrigued on these final days whether the project is actually finished. As you can see, there's a little bit of landscaping to be done. The garage and carport isn't finished. And it looks to me like there might not be a house extension. Morning, how are you? So good to see you. Been a while. Oh, look, you're looking all very smart, mister. How are you? It's like an army today.
Hi, George. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
Hi, George, good to see you.
Are you done in there? Is it finished?
Yes.
Come on, let's go in. Do you mind if I have a look?
Come on in.
Can I take my coat off? Is it warm enough? You've got heating and everything?
Got the fire on?
Yeah, fire's on.
The first area I want to see is the kitchen diner. Last year, it looked like this. Today, it's stunning.
Wow, look at that. It's fantastic. I love the kitchen. Marble's beautiful.
Yeah,
look at that.
Marbles.
They've got the same marble at Harrods.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You've gone very posh, have you?
The deli counter.
Super posh. And what I'm really pleased is that when we redesigned the space, We made it all one room. You've got a view out the front, the side, back to the entrance and the back. Such a hard slog to get to this stage. It's incredible, really.
But it has been very rewarding, and I think we have such a tingling feeling when we get up in the morning and certainly come downstairs and then come into here.
It's lovely. And this table was my grandmother's, so I remember sitting around this table when I was little.
What do you think of it, kids?
It's amazing.
Before work began, the front door opened onto nothing but weeds. Today, that nothing has been transformed into an elegant hallway.
This looks great. These were reclaimed bricks, yeah? Did you clean these up?
Yeah.
Good work.
They all came out of the building.
I mean, these are literally part of the landscape. They've come out of the clay pit, they've been made here, produced here, shaped here, and then you've reused them.
And what was once just the end of an empty shell is now the family living room.
Whoa, look at this. It's lovely, isn't it? Oh. Now that is one snug, warm living room, isn't it?
Do you like our reclaimed beam? This is one of the beams that you were leaping about on.
Thankfully I didn't break it, because it looks brilliant. You've just reused bricks and timber very nicely in parts of the home, just so it reflects its history. Do you want to see your bedrooms?
Yes.
Come on, let's go and see your rooms. I'm dying to see them.
This building was once open to the skies. But now Tim and Emma have taken on board my ideas and have created 3 children's bedrooms down the end of the corridor. The children also have a bathroom and shower just for themselves. At the other end of the house is Tim and Emma's master bedroom, complete with a smart ensuite bathroom. Inside, the house is almost finished, but outside it's work in progress. The garage, which will have space for 2 cars, a kitchen area and upstairs office, should be ready in a couple of months. But Tim and Emma have not yet started on the house extension. Estimated to cost £20,000, they hope to start work early next year. However, one small restoration project which I've been really interested in has been completed. Those missing eyebrow bricks that took so long to research and find are now finally back in place where they belong. Tim and Emma are not quite ready to say their restoration project is finished, but they have turned the engine house into the family home of their dreams. As I've travelled with them on their journey, I want them to know about this building's extraordinary past, and as custodians of the building, they can keep that history alive for future generations.
Well, I've got a little present for you. The old engine house book. There's a picture of what it used to be like.
Oh my word. Oh my God. Look at that.
And then, the very beginning. Who are these cheeky kids standing everywhere?
Oh, those are brilliant.
Are they tight shut?
And to bring to life how their brickyard looked in the 19th century, I've got them a very special gift.
Oh wow. Look
And
at
it's basically what it used to be like.
Oh my word. Look at that. Oh look.
Hey! All over the stone floor.
Oh, it's been sealed.
Thank God it's been sealed, otherwise I would have been in big trouble.
Oh, look at that.
Cheers, everyone. Here's to a fantastic build and an amazing family project. You did it. Well done.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, George.
When I first came here, there was nothing more than 4 very abandoned and ruinous brick walls. But actually what we've uncovered is a site of huge and fascinating industrial heritage. It really has a rich social story behind it. And Tim and Emma have saved this building. They've battled against planning, against huge financial pressure, and they've even had to learn to build at the same time to realise their dream home. What I love about this building is its modesty. It's not grand, but it's been beautifully crafted, reusing those industrial materials. And because it's been a family build, they've made their mark on history.